Good morning, students. Today we're going to see in the students book, page 23. We're going to write some sentences using the vocabulary given in the phrase book, so you can prepare your conversations for next week. So where we're talking in the last class, and this class is about giving prohibitions, give warnings and prohibitions. So to give prohibitions, we have this. We read the conversations yesterday, and to give the prohibitions, we use these phrases. So we're going to complete them as we go through. You can, if you have any suggestions, we can go. So for example, you give a prohibition. You can't go. Let's talk about today. You can't go. For example, I'll put an example. You can't go to the beach. Now, with this COVID situation, we can't go to the beach. So you can't go to the beach. Okay? Right now it's prohibitions. Or you can't go, well, just leave it like you can't go to the beach. You can't take. If you go to a party, you can't take the flowers from the party, or you can't take the food from the party. So you can't take the flowers, for example. It's a setting, and you can't take the flowers from the decorations. The flowers from party. Yeah. You're not allowed to wait. You're not allowed to wait. For example, you go in a car you go to the bank, and you are stationed in front, you park in front of the bank. You can't, so you leave a person and you are going to wait for a person in the car. So you're not allowed, in some places in front of the bank, you're not allowed to wait in the car for the other person to come. So you're not allowed to wait in the car in front of a bank, for example. Okay? You're not allowed. Okay. These are some suggestions. You can fill in the ones as you think is right. For example, you are in a test in the classroom. So you're not allowed to ask your classmates any question. Okay? You're not allowed to ask your classmates any question. Okay. It's prohibited. Prohibited or it's forbidden. We can use both of them, but usually prohibited. So it's prohibited to, nowadays, it's prohibited to visit to visit your friends and family, for example. This is because of the situation. Just an example. Maybe it's not prohibited, but it should be in some cases. It's forbidden. Now with the pandemic, it's forbidden to travel from one province to another. To travel around Panama, for example, to travel around Panama. There's also a ban. There's also a ban on having parties, for example. You can't have a party and having.
Buenas, profe. Buenos días, profe. Buenos
Good
días.
morning. Good morning. You can copy what we have here on the screen. There's also a ban on having a party. You can't have parties nowadays. We see what about prohibitions. These are sentences that can help you to prepare your conversation. You could say there's also a ban on riding bicycles. Sorry, here, down here. There's also a ban on riding. You ride a motorbike or a bicycle, or you ride a horse. So for example, there's also a ban on riding a motorcycle after 7 p.m. Let's say after 7 p.m. After 7 o'clock, you cannot ride around a motorcycle. These are some examples of prohibitions and prohibitions. These are some examples you can use. Okay, now we're going to give warnings. You give a warning to be careful, for people to be careful, watch out. So when you say watch out, look out. For example, you would say, watch out, look out. There is a bus coming very fast. Or look out for the bus, you could say, for the bus. Look for the bus. Straight to you. Okay, could be a bus or a car that is going very fast, and look out. Watch out, be careful, okay, look out. So that would be a warning. Another one would be careful, be careful, be careful, be careful. You can be careful. There is a beehive next to you. There's a neat beehive next to you. So there's bees. You have to be careful. You can be stung by the bee. So there's a beehive next to you. Be careful. Watch the steps. I think that one was, watch the steps. Watch the steps. They are slippery. That means they're very slippery. That means it's like maybe they are wet or so you can fall. So watch out, watch the steps. They're very slippery. Sometimes when we walk, it has rained and there's certain kind of floors or steps that they're very slippery, that you can fall down. So it's dangerous. Here's the question. Okay, this one is, for example, we saw this one with conversation, one of the conversation. Are you sure you trust that site? When you usually go into you go into a some website, there's certain sites are not good because they capture information or somehow, so, or they have virus or whatever. So that's why you have to be careful on what site you're going into. So that's why this question is, are you sure? It's a warning. Before you go into that, are you sure you trust that site? The other question would be, are you sure that is a good idea? To give an idea to do something. I think we can go to Chiriquí. Are you sure that is a good idea? Because nowadays we cannot travel from one province to another. So, are you sure that is a good idea? If you don't have a permit to pass from one province to another. So, are you sure that is a good idea? This one I left. I'm sorry, this one doesn't go here. This one was repeated. So, the one before. So, I'd watch out. Oh, I'd be careful. The same thing would be with when we saw the site. For example, you could say, I'd watch out or I'd be careful if I were you. That is in the case if you go, for example, to a place that is dangerous. Okay, for example, that's when you would use, if you go to a place that is dangerous, so I'd watch out or I'd be careful if I were you. That's when you can use it too. You might download. Okay, that's a warning. You might download a virus, for example. So be careful. You might download a virus when you bring down that information from the website. So that's where it comes from. Are you sure you trust that site? You might download a virus. Okay. You might have, if you're not careful, you might have, let's say, you might have, in this case, COVID, if you're not careful, if we do not take the precautions or how we have to wash our hands, cover our face with a mask. So if you're not careful, you might have COVID or you might get sick. Or you might have a virus in your computer if you're not careful. It also works. Okay? You might have a virus in your computer if you're not careful. And the last one, that is, you could fall or you could hurt yourself. You could fall or hurt yourself when you are in some place and it is dangerous. So, for example, you could fall or hurt, or you could hurt yourself when you are, let's say, um, climbing a tree. Okay, you could fall or you could hurt yourself when you're climbing a tree or when you climb a tree. Okay, when you climb a tree, let's say, or the sentence as such, when you climb a tree. So in either case, you can, it's something that can happen to you. So these are warnings. Watch out, look out for the bus. It is coming straight to you. Be careful, there's a beehive next to you. Watch the steps, they are very slippery. Okay, be careful here. Are you sure you trust that site? We know that one. Are you sure that is a good idea? You give an idea and the other one is not too sure. Are you sure that is a good idea? That's what we should do. I watch out if you go to the place that is dangerous, as we say. Oh, I'd be careful if I were you. I'd be careful if I were you. For example, you go to a place that it's dangerous, or you're going to, let's say you're going to swim in a place that there's the sea is very rough. So you say, I'd watch out, or I'd be careful if I were you. There's certain places like in Gorgona that there's strong currents. So I'd watch out, or I'd be careful. Other beaches, for example. So that is what we use. These are the words, expressions we use to give warnings. So you can prepare your conversations based on these.